let's talk about visuals. I've long been obsessed with visual representation. I think it's an amazing way to communicate just about anything. Graphs can be used to share data or trends, and flowcharts can be used to share processes or even ideas. I really like visual representation because it allows us to do two very difficult things at the same time. First, it should enable us to see a trend or big picture at a glance. And second, it should give us the ability to see an incredible amount of detail if we choose to look closely. These two features have the ability to make the way we communicate much more meaningful and powerful. This being said, the medium isn't flawless. Visuals can be misleading. A lot of times there's a vast amount of information hidden behind our visual. So, when we're using visuals, it's really important that we accurately express our very complicated world. This brings us to an interesting example. Shown here is a diagram Amazon developed to explain their exponential growth in their business model. The analogy here is that growth is represented as a flywheel with many cyclical forces propelling the growth. But at a glance, the visual can be confusing because the output of growth is shown on the same plane as the input. So, let's go ahead and recreate this visual in a medium that allows us to portray a dimensional view of this relationship. First, we're going to start with our growth flywheel. This will be propelled through gear coupling. Our first input gear is going to be site traffic. This is an incredibly important growth component for any web-based business. Now, more site traffic leads to an increase in sellers. Sellers are interested in product distribution via Amazon. An increase in sellers is going to create more selection. More selection available for customers is going to increase customer experience. Finally, an increase in customer experience will continue to increase brand loyalty and attractiveness to new customers, therefore increasing overall site traffic. This creates a cyclical relationship where each component contributes to growth. But more importantly, each component propels the next, creating an environment compulsive for exponential growth. So, what is the output of growth? Here we're going to continue the analogy by attaching an output shaft to our growth flywheel. Now the output shaft is going to represent infrastructure investment. This is going to be coupled to another gear. More infrastructure investment leads to higher economies of scale. This essentially means that increasing an organization's size will decrease proportionate operating costs. These costs can then be flown downstream to decrease customers' cost. Decrease in customer costs leads to an increase in customers. This converts your output shaft into an input shaft, therefore creating this three-dimensional cyclical relationship. This results in an amazing growth model. Visuals like these can be critical in communicating. As an engineer who loves the technical details, I know all too well that when you try to communicate this, it can be a real challenge. I really hope this quick analysis got some of your gears turning, and I really hope you spend some time thinking about all the different methods and tools we can use to communicate.